to Hixxy Studio and to today's Facebook Live. Welcome to you if you are watching us on our Facebook page, that's Hixxycrafts, and to anyone who's streaming us live on YouTube. Welcome. Please hit the like button on our page to make sure that you're kept up to date with when we're online. And also follow our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel because I record loads of other videos that get loaded up there through the week. So today I have some amazing goodies to share with you. Based around Elizabeth Craft Designs, amazing planner dies and journal dies. And to be honest with you, I've only got a couple of sets and I am already hooked. I'm not new to journaling per se. I have my journals, my Pink Pig journal and my Artesa journal where I do lots of inky kind of stuff. But I am fairly new to using dies as a way of organising. Have to say, I'm not a planner person myself. I always try to be, but actually never quite get around to doing that. But I have absolutely had a ball playing with the dies that we've got today. So the two things we're focusing on are these. This is the Irish shutter die, which, yeah, it's just amazing. So I'm going to focus on showing you how to make this page. If I get time, then I'll show you how to use the shutter slightly differently with this card. And then the other thing I've got is I had a set of dies that were to make pages for a traveller's notebook. Now, traveller's notebook was not a term I'd ever heard before, but once I went online and had a look at what a traveller's notebook is, I realised actually I own traveller's notebooks. Just didn't know that that's what they were called. So this one, I'm going to show you how you can actually make the journal yourself, as well as these dies that come with the page to make the pages and to sort of decorate. So those are the two that we're focusing on. These two will be bonus depending on time, because this one particularly is quite time intensive. So let's start with talking about this one. I'm just going to bear with me. I'm just putting things in the right boxes so when I come to do things in a moment, I'll know what I'm doing. So time, because Elizabeth Crafts make an amazing range of planner things. So they have planners like this. Now I have written these down so that I don't get these wrong. So they do this A5 planner, which is what this page would be suitable for. They also do one called a sidekick, which is smaller. The same. They do similar sort of planners. These are empty. And so this one is 9 inches by 6 1/4, and the smaller one, the sidekick, is 7 1/2 by 5 1/4. Now the Irish shutter die set is actually designed for the size of a sidekick page, but what I've done is I put it on an A5 planner page. Okay, so I'll put that to one side. I also, as you can see, I don't have the journal. I've kind of just started to create my own. I've got sort of a hard, some grey board, which at some point I will get around to decorating. So we're going to have a look at this. So the page is just cut from one of the planner pages. There are all sorts of variations that you can find. I have decorated it on both. But what my main focus is to show you how to use this Irish shutter die to create this. Okay, so there's going to be two parts really to this demo. One is to show you how you actually create the Irish shutter, and then the second putting the bits together. The other die set that I've got that I'm using from Elizabeth Craft is this one, which when you look at it you think, oh, what on earth is that? And when I picked it up, I was like, okay. They are for reinforcements. So like here, you can see where you have the holes, and you know, they're always the bits that are weakest. So this is reinforcement pack 2. So there is another one, but they are just so fun. I mean, I'm amazed. I love them. I mean, these ones I've actually used as the focal point for my iris shutter. I've used the camera to show, you know, put some photos here on the back. These ones are great. They fold over. Yeah, just loving it. And for your use them for your tags and all sorts. So that's a really, really strange, seemingly strange, but a really, really amazingly useful die set. So let's get on to start by looking at these dies. So this is the mechanism. This is what it looks like underneath all of the lovely prettiness. And to create that, you need these parts of the dies. These here, this one creates this kind of cover, which is really nice with this little sort of hole here for your arrow. And this one creates the cover. Now, I'm just going to reach back down. The difference with the card is that we don't use the cover. So you don't need the cover, but it's designed for the Sidekick journal page with the cover. Okay. So we're going to put these ones to one side for the moment because they're not part of the actual mechanism. So there are 3 sort of the rounded dies, and they're all labelled. So I'm going to start getting them out. So this is A, and you can see the A here. This is B, and you can see I've written ×2 because I need to cut that one out twice. So these, now when I've seen the Elizabeth Crafts demo, the lady called them bananas, so I'm going to call them the bananas as well. And you need to cut that die out twice because you need 6 bananas. Then you've got C here, and then you've got 3 arrows. Now, I should just keep this card up for the moment, shouldn't I? On one like this, the arrow, can you see? The arrow that is on this part of the shutter mechanism is long enough. But when you use it on here, if I actually can hear, if I was to have that, it would disappear under here. So you use these to extend. So you've got this one which goes at the back, can also go at the front, and then you've got 2 other more decorative ones to go on the top. Now you need to think carefully about what you're choosing. So I've kind of tried to colour code it here. So this black part is A, okay. C is the craft part, and B is all in white, including the arrows. Those parts there are the parts that will be visible, and so unless you want to do it in white card and ink it each time, then you need to consider, you know, what colour. So for example, here I've done the shutter mechanism in cream and the arrow and this in blue. That said, these parts, not only are they the visible parts and you need to consider your colours, they are also the parts that are the main function of the mechanism. Okay, these 2 kind of hold the bits together, but these are the main parts. So you need to make sure that you are using a reasonably heavy cardstock. Okay, I would say you don't want to go below a 240 and preferably a 300. The reason you need 2 of these is you actually even stick 2 of these together because that makes it even stronger. Now there's a few other things I learned while fiddling around with these and trying to learn how to put them together. On the Elizabeth Crafts instruction, they talk about using glue dots, and I was like, oh really? And I thought surely you can do it with glue. Well, you can, but my goodness, is it fiddly to do it with glue, and it doesn't hold as quickly. So I have to say hats off, and absolutely I would also recommend that you get glue dots for putting these mechanisms together. You need about 12. You need about 20, possibly a few more for each mechanism. And I think there's I don't know, there's 100 or 200 on the roll. These are 5mm ones, and I wouldn't suggest any smaller, but 5mm works really well. What else do you need? You will need foam pads. Without a doubt, you will need foam pads or foam tape or something, and it needs to be fairly thick, because once, if I can show you this on the side, in order for the mechanism to work, it needs to be raised up, and so you need some fairly thick foam tape or foam pads. Okay. The other thing, make sure you've got to hand are paper clips. I tried using my pegs and actually they got in the way. So definitely paper clips are what you need.
Pam missed the start. What was the brand and name of the die set?
Right, so this is Elizabeth Craft Designs, and this is the iris shutter. I know the iris. I keep wanting to say Irish. I'm sorry to Irish people, but it's an iris shutter. It's basically like the bit on the camera that when you take a photo, it opens and closes. So that's what we're doing. So this is Elizabeth Craft's iris shutter. So we are going to go through the process of making this. Now, as I said to you before, we need 2 of these. So I've already cut one, and we need 2 lots of these. So again, I've already cut one. Now this card, please don't ask me where I got it. It was from a lovely lady on my local market stall. I was a primary school teacher, and we had to do an Egyptian display, and I thought it looked like sand. So I've got lots of these like offcuts. Anyway, perfect for this because again, this is a beach theme, so it's like sand. So I'm going to need to cut another one of these and another one of these out of this card. We're just going to start sort of lining up what I need, and I'm going to cut all the arrows out of it, and then we'll have a decide on what we're going to use to extend it. Okay, so these 2 parts of the mechanism will not be seen, so don't use your good cardstock on those, but I still would recommend that you use a strong cardstock. Again, I've used craft or black. The other thing I've done, and I will cut them out anyway, but I have as I've been running other things through, because I'm sure you appreciate when you're doing prep, you're cutting lots of things to keep going. Every time I've had a little bit of a space on my board, I've just been running some of these mechanism parts through. So I've kind of, in my little, this is also an Elizabeth Craft one, pizza box, I've just built up a bit of a stash of bits of mechanism. So, you know, that way you can always put one together quite quickly, particularly if you do it in white, because you can ink it for whatever colour. But I will cut them all the pieces out to show you. So I have got a piece of craft card here. So we're going to do part A and part C out of craft card. So these are all the bits that we need for the mechanism. So I'm going to take them down, and then we're going to run them through the machine. Now this cardstock, this one here, is a coated cardstock. So I want to run everything through on low pressure, but that one may not cut. We will see. Okay. Now I'll tell you what else you'll find. Well, you may not. It may just be me. All of these right. No, I'm going to take this off because I love this. All of these dies, these ones. Obviously, you don't need the centre for the mechanism, but Elizabeth Crafts haven't just gone right. Okay, that will be a waste one. Look here. That the actual, there's a design. So all these little circles, and look, this is how sad I am. Look, here they all are. Keep hold of them. I mean, I've used some of them on the page, but these things are just brilliant. They're also absolutely the perfect size for knowing what you can put in at the back of your iris shutter. So don't throw those bits away. I just think that's such a thoughtful you know, thing to do. It's not taking up any more space on the die. It's just making that little bit that would normally just be a plain waist circle. I'm just making sure I've got these on. I know I'm talking because I'm a little bit excited about all of these. I'm absolutely loving all of this stuff. I've become a little bit of an addict since I was given these. I was given these and one other set of dies to play with, and it's just kind of like snowballed in my head about, oh, I could do this and this and this. So I'm absolutely loving all of these. So we are going to put these through the machine. So we'll go down this way. We'll see how well they cut with just the one pass and the not too much pressure. We'll go with it and see. Bear with me, everything's just, oh, you probably can't see it, but everything's just slid on my board. On my cutting plate. See, sometimes these don't like cutting that way. I found it depends what card you're doing. Sometimes they prefer cutting that way. So it's a case of just getting them to run through, have a look, and if necessary, run them back through again. Oh, well, I just ran my chair into my thing. Now, I think they've all cut, actually. One pass. Yes, everything's cut perfectly. One pass through. So it always pays, whatever machine you've got, to try on a low pressure before you start ramping it up. Right, so, like I said, these little lovely little circles. So they're just going to go into my box for later, and another time. Probably make a little pizza box to put those in. Okay. So put this out. There is my other one of those. So I'm just going to grab my sheet just so that I keep everything together. I've got so many dies at the moment. But this one's popped out. So this is C. Okay, now the one thing I will say, because not had a huge amount of pressure through, you don't always get the letter embossing. So once you've made a few, and believe me, I've made a few now, you do get to recognise which pieces which. So that bit can go to the side for the moment. This piece will pop out. Don't need those little bits. Pop that out. Okay. Okay. Oh, what's that that's got stuck in there? Oh, I obviously had something in there from before. Here's our 3 more bananas. Okay. And then, now, with your arrows, be careful as you pop them out, because like here, again, this is how, keep those little bits, because, and I will be using some of the white ones later, you can pop them back in. Particularly if you've got a different colour, it looks really, really cool. So start keeping a little pot. I didn't do it to begin with, and I wish I had, but keep those little arrows and little chevrons. Whew, she says, knocking them all out of her box. Right, so here we go. We don't need all 3. I have just cut all 3 out to show you what they look like. I think this one I really like for this particular layout, because it shows you that's the way you've got to turn your iris shutter. So, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these 2 together to create an even stronger base here. Now, bear with me, I've lost the top of my glue, and I'm just trying to to keep it going for the moment, I'm going to move the mechanism dies away because I have finished with those for the moment. On there. Bear with me, I've just got to use this needle to get my glue going again. Yeah. Right. Glue. So we're going to glue these two together. And I would do this first so that this is dry, because you're going to need it fairly quickly. What you don't want to is, sorry, I've just broken a nail, which is not helping. Sorry about that. So get these two together, put your fingers in the middle like I have here, and you can feel when it's lined up. Put those two together and then squash so that it's all lined up. It's a reasonably forgiving mechanism to an extent, but you do need to try as best you can. Now, this is what I kept forgetting, is if you want to extend the arrow, you need to do it now. So I am going to, because otherwise you won't see it here. Okay, so I am going to put the plain one on one side. So we're going to stick that down. Now I could, if I wanted to, just stick a plain one on the other side, and there's no reason you can't. Now with this again, put your fingers on the inside. You should be able to feel that that's hit the curve at the right place. Okay, and turn it over. And then you've got the chevron or you've got the arrow, and I am going to use the arrow because I think that's quite fun, sort of to show you the direction to move the shutter. Okay, and then this one goes at the front. So this has extended that arrow. If I just grab the die, you'll see what I mean. So it cuts it, and it's usually that length, and now we've extended it just that much further. And like I said, without that would barely be able to be seen. And I am also going to go into my little box, and I'm going to find, I'm sure I had one, little white arrow that I am going to put in here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in there, and then so you don't have that this sort of dent in there, and it sort of gives it a nice contrast. So put that to one side now. We don't need this, so it's going to go in my box for another time. Now, the next thing you need is this. This is part A, and you need your bananas, and you need paper clips. Now, I can't remember the name of the lady, and I do apologise, who did the Elizabeth Crafts thing, but she used 2 clips. I find I need more, but it is personal preference. Now, these are the bits that need to go through here. Okay, so you slip it in there, and then if you slide it out the top, so it just shows there, and then line it up with the circle, and if you get your fingers in the middle, that really does help to keep things in line. Okay, so I'm going to do, whoops, just one, don't need another one. So put it in, push that bit up, and then line it up. And now the lady did one after every after 3. I find that I need to do it after 2. I do need to then fiddle around with it. So in, push that top bit out, bring it round. Yeah. So again, trying to show it from different angles. Put it in, make sure the top bit shows there, bring it round. And that's where, again, I would fiddle with it. It's really, this is quite important to try and make sure these bits are lined up. These are the bits that are going to create that shutter in the middle, and it's really, really important that you get them. Now, you're like, well, where is it? Well, it's under here. So you just literally lift those pop that in and bring it round. And the same with the last one. The recess is under there, so pop that in, bring it round. So now I have all 6 of my my parts of the iris shutter in. Now, I'm not sure. I'm going to get a piece out on a different colour card because it'll probably be easier to see. Right, yes, it is easier to see maybe on that one. I haven't got the other colours to do. Right, so it's not so easy to see on my coated cardstock there, but on the end of each banana is this little, it looks to me like a little sun. Now those are really important. If you do try to use glue as opposed to glue dots, it really is important that you only put dots of glue on in the right places, because if you get glue in the wrong places, the mechanism will not work. So glue dots, I have to admit, not the easiest thing to use at the best of times. Just put my fabric scissors away. So I need one on the tip of each of those. So I am going to cut them individually. I have found it so much easier if they are not all on the roll. So
Pam would like to know if instructions are included with the die.
No. However, the way I learned how to do it was to look at the video that well, you can either watch me back, because I am doing exactly what the lady on the Elizabeth Crafts video did. So this will be on, you'll put this one on a video on our YouTube, won't you? So this will be, this video, this demo I'm doing now will be on our YouTube channel. But Elizabeth Crafts also have got their own video tutorial of how to put it. And that's how I learned to do it. There are no instructions on the packet. Okay. So yes, you will need to have a look. If you, I expect at some point I will attempt to do a written step-by-step on my blog, but I will endeavour to do that over the next week, because I know some people learn better by reading and looking at pictures, some people learn better by watching, so I will try to get a step-by-step with photos and words. Okay, so the idea now is you need to put a glue dot onto each of these. And that's why I've cut it, because I just found it so much easier. And unfortunately for you, I've got to turn it this way, because when you turn the glue dot, piece of paper like that, you can barely see where the glue dot is. I don't know, you might be able to with the lighting on the camera, but I can't. So I found that holding it up that way in front of my sort of face, I can see where the glue dot is. I can hold the bottom piece of paper. I can have a look to see if if it's not exactly in the centre, it's fine, but you need to be roughly in that area. And then I'm just pushing it down. And at this point, I don't take the paper off. I found it easier not to take the paper off at this point. You will, like I said, I thought, yeah, I can use glue. And this bit is not so bad. But when you get to further steps, it became just like, oh my goodness. And particularly for well, it's just for ease really. This was so much easier, and you'll find your own little quirks. So for example, I wish I could remember the lovely lady's name. I know it begins with E, and I know it's not Els. It wasn't Els that was doing it. But she was taking the tape off as she went. But I found that for me, I prefer to keep the tape on, because now, before I do anything, I can give them a really, really good press before I take them off. Okay, now you're going to need this bit now. That's why I stuck this earlier. So this is all now nice and firm, ready to go on here. So I'm going to take off. Oh, see, that one's coming. See, once you press them firm, the backing comes off really easily. And then you get full of static, and then you're covered. Okay, right, so there we go. I'm going to get rid of those bits of paper. You can see this is like a wheel, like a ship's wheel, if you like, with these spokes coming out, except there's none here, okay? And that's important because that's the bit where the arrow is going to go up and down. So we're going to stick this on the top now, but what you need to do, and I'm going to, because of that, I'm going to remove this. I'm just going to move this around because that one's in a vital area. Okay, this is where you really need to just go and do a little bit of adjusting, make sure it's all lined up, because once you stick this bit down, this is pretty much it in terms of where the mechanism is going to go. So, okay, so this arrow, now I'm right-handed, so I've got it round this way. It's easier. If you're left-handed, you might find it easier to have it round that way. This part of the arrow here needs to be just past this, not like round here, but just a couple of millimeters, because this bit's going to fold up in a minute, so you don't want it over it. It just needs to be literally just past. So I do apologise to for the overhead camera, because I do need to now get my head over the top of this. So you might, at the moment, you're probably seeing a lovely view of my roots, probably at the moment. So I'll come back a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that this is over there, just past that bit, and I'm going to press it down and then remove my paper clips and then give it a really, really good press. So hopefully now you can see that I have put this literally just a couple of millimeters past this, and then I've got all that open space there. Okay, now the next thing to do is for these to come across. But if I was to stick these to this, then this isn't going to move. So this is where part C comes in, the other part of the mechanism that you don't see. It's going to go over here like that. Okay, and these are going to fold. So I need more glue dots. This, like I said, the previous bit I kind of got away with when I tried glue. This bit was a nightmare when I tried to do it with just glue. So this was the bit that, oh, look at my glue dots, and they're there. This is the bit that said to me, you know what, you do really need to use glue dots. It's so much easier. So I need, I'm just making sure I'm doing this right. Yes. So there's another part where you need more than 6, and I'm thinking, doubting myself. Yeah, I've been watching a fair bit of crafting TV, and I tell you, I'm no professional at this. I'm lucky enough to be able to do a bit of it, but it did make me feel better watching some of the professional ladies who on the live on TV have gone, oh no, I've stuck that in the wrong place, or oh, I've got the measurements wrong, because sometimes you think, oh, how stupid can I be when I get it wrong? But it happens. So, but I think I'm all right at the moment. So glue dots again. Now I'm going to put them on the ends of these. And again, it's easier for me if I turn it up and I can see where that goes. And again, I'm not taking the paper off yet. I'm just going to stick my glue dots on the ends. So here.
What size glue dots?
These are 5mm glue dots. They are just the perfect size. For the last stage where I use glue dots, you can get away with bigger ones. But for the 2 bits that we've just done, for putting on top of these banana bits and for putting on the ends of these like spokes, if you like, these 5mm ones are perfect. Okay, so I am really, really pushing these down to make sure they are secure. Like I say, once you've pressed them down and they're secure on the card, the backing comes off quite easy. And if the backing doesn't come off quite easy, you know you haven't got those pressed down hard enough. So like I said, if I was to fold those over onto this, then the mechanism would not turn. So that's where part C comes in. So part A and part C are the bits that the colour is kind of irrelevant. The shutter part and part B, to some extent, you need to make sure you've either chosen your colour or ink them before you assemble. So this is literally going over. Try and make sure it's lined up. Now, what you don't want to do is to really push this down, because you'll be restricting this mechanism. So it's just a case of folding these over. And I think that's part of the reason why glue dots works better than glue, because although I may well put a few paper clips on these, in order to get the glue to stick, you've really got to squeeze really hard, and you don't want to squash the mechanism too much. So all I'm doing literally is picking that up, and I'm not kind of forcing it, I'm just literally folding it over so it touches like that. And I'm hoping my glue dots are strong enough. I had some old ones. You know what you're like, you buy things years ago, you think, oh, I'll keep those, I'm not using them now. So I did have some old glue dots in my stash. I thought, yeah, they'll be fine. They weren't strong enough. Now, you can probably see that the mechanism has kind of like taken a breath, kind of expanded again, because I haven't like pulled these over tight. Now this is the moment of truth, and it might not, on first try, it might take a little bit of wiggling for everything to get in its right place. So this is where, bear with me, there you go. This is where the shutter now works. Okay, so our mechanism is made. Now these bits here, can you see when I, bear with me, it's hard to do, hold it and to turn it. Let's get it to turn. Oh, it's because I'm trying to turn it the wrong way, that's why. So if I go you know, I was talking about when you realise you've made mistakes live. Well, I have just realised I've made a mistake. You know my lovely arrow that I wanted to show which way to turn the mechanism? I got it upside down because that's the front of my mechanism. But hey ho, we'll live with it. This is the back of the mechanism. This is the bit that's going to go down. You see they move. That's what I was trying to show you. Those little bits move. So they, at no point do you want those to be stuck anywhere. But they do show. So you can just fold them down. It doesn't stop the mechanism working. It just stops them from being visible. There you go. So now my lovely arrow is going to be hidden. But that's okay. So that is my mechanism made. That's it. Okay. Done. Sorted. So I'm going to put that to one side, and we're going to have a look at the rest of what we've got. So bear with me. I want to try and keep tidy today because I've got so many bits that I don't really want to be either losing bits or putting things where I can't find them. Okay, mechanism done. Next part is I am going to cut out this part. So let's look at these. These are the other two dies that come with it. We've finished with all the shutter mechanism dies, and these are the bits that help us to present it or to cover things up. So this part, now this is made, as I was telling you before, this is from the Planner Essentials, and this will is designed to fit on the smaller Sidekick planner page. Now I don't have either a Sidekick planner or the A5, so I decided to go for the bigger one, and I've made the page. This is one of the Elizabeth Crafts page dies to cut my page out, and you can see that it fits really well. There's no reason you can't use it on the bigger journal, but you can put it on the smaller one too. So that's the cover, and we're going to cut that out of my card here. So I'm just going to cut that down. I don't need all of that. I'm just thinking, no, I don't need to cut anything else out of that either. So we're going to cut that there. Now, this one is this bit that covers here, and I've made it to look like, you know, one of those life ring things. I have, and I just need to check. I think I've already cut it out of the white. I think I need to cut it out of the blue. Yes, so I'm going to cut this out of the blue. Now, for my decoration, I've gone back to a dice that I had 2 weeks ago. I think I used this one. This is Amy Design. Yeah, Amy Design Underwater World Sea Life. And I am using it for the shells and the bubbles. So I've already cut out some, but I'm going to cut these ones out in the blue. So I want the starfish, the 2 shells, and the bubbles. And while I'm running through the die cutting, just want to make sure I've got everything else that I need. I did cut out the same ring in the craft card for those little bits. There's no point me cutting it out again, sorry, because I can just cut more little bits out of that, so I don't need to cut that one again. And the page, I think I've got enough of those cut, but I'll show you the dies. So here's my pack. Yeah, I think I've got enough of that. Yeah. So let me show you which ones I've used. Them all in. So I haven't used any of these ones yet, so I have yet to find my projects for this, but I've only had them a couple of weeks. So I've used these ticket ones that fold round. So if I over it, you can see it folds over. I've used the fish here and the cameras at the back, and I've also used the cameras on there, and I used the fish in there. So I think I have enough, so I'm not going to bother cutting anymore for now. If necessary, I can quickly run it through. What am I losing there? My snail, right. So many things. Have I finished with that? Put that to one side. Those are, what's that for? Oh, that's what's that for. Right. Let's get the plate in. Put this down to cut. Now, hopefully, these should all cut in one pass. Let's grab my tape. I don't know why I'm getting new tape out. I'm going to put that to the side because I have a whole table full of tape over here. Let's make sure. Sometimes when you put them, well, sometimes, whenever really you're putting multiple dies or multiple pieces of card down, it's a good idea to anchor your card to the board, particularly if, like me, you get warping plates, because you think they're on nice and straight. You pick up your plates, you move them, and you find that your bits of card have slid, and either the die is no longer in line with the card, or the card's overlapped, or the dies have overlapped. So if you anchor it to your plate as well, it's a good idea. See, it sounds like it's cutting fine. We will have a look. But, excuse me, it's trying to get at the back of my Gemini. It's awkward angle. Oh, that all looks pretty cool. So let's see, even this one, you get another little circle to add to your collection. Move those over. Oh, have I lost? I've lost one. I've lost a shell. Not on the board. I bet it's on the floor. Oh well. It's not essential. It'll probably be stuck to me somewhere. Never mind. Keep going. Another little circle to add to my box. I will probably end up coming up with a project to use all those circles for. Let's put these ones back before I lose them. Always with your little dies, make sure you put them somewhere safe. These are the ones that well, you can see like I've already lost the die cut. They are very easy to get caught on things, to end up going in the bin. So always try to put your little dies back. One out. So these are the bits. These are just, you know, you could choose whatever. Oh, I know what I didn't cut. We'll go back and do that in a moment. In which case I might just die cut that extra. I didn't die cut my sentiment. I'm just going to put these to one side so I have them. I didn't die cut my sentiment. Now, I don't have anything really in my stash that was kind of suitable for this. So I literally just sized one up on the computer that would fit one of these circles, and that's pretty much your guide. If it will fit underneath that circle, then it will show in your iris shutter. So I need to cut that. So I'm just going to stick that down, and I am going to use a bit of tape, and I am going to see if I've got get that bit of card back, and I'm going to cut that shell again as I'm running it through. I might as well cut that other one there. So let's put this back through the machine, and then we've got all the bits ready to assemble our page. Put that there. Shouldn't be a problem, because that is literally, it's not copier paper. It's slightly heavier than copier paper, but it is still paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that onto one of those circles that I've got in my little stash. Okay. Right, I'm not going to lose that this time. Right back in the pack. That can go in the bin. And I don't really need that paper one, so I am going to put that there. I have my sentiment, and before I lose that, I'm just going to grab, I'm probably going to go for a craft one. Oh no, that's a purple one. I'm going to stick this on there, and it gives it a little bit of rigidity. Let's see whether my glue's dried up. Yep. Let's get the pin in there. My own fault. I knew I broke it off. It's this Cosmic Shimmer one. It comes with that little bit that's attached. You know, the lid's attached, so you're never going to lose it. Yeah, but I always seem to manage. Usually about halfway, and I think I'm about halfway. I usually manage to then snap it off. So, which is what I've done. And then I think it must have ended up in the bin when I was doing my clear up late last night when I finished my prep. So, there we go. So that is now a little bit more rigid for our sentiment. Okay, let's take this bit off. Oh, look! And now I found the other shell. Never mind, I've got two now. So, we now have all our pieces. I'm just going to pop my die back in the pack, so it's all together. So, I've got some bits already prepared here. Now, like I say, with Elizabeth Craft Designs, they usually have what sort of collection they're in. So for the planners, the things that fit in the A5 planner, the Sidekick planner, these are all planner essential dies, and there are loads. Some will actually cut pages that fit with fancy edges, and this is one of them. I think it came with numbers as well. I'm pretty sure Barry sold out of this one though. But I used 2 pieces of paper. I cut the 2 pieces of paper, I put them sort of wrong sides together so that they would definitely fit. So this is 2 bits of paper, and it's made it much more sort of solid. So if you are cutting pages out and you want to use pattern papers, because why not, then that's sort of a little tip you could do. So I've got my 2 mats, and I've used a corner rounder to make it look a little bit nice. I'm trying to think why I've got bits of, oh, I know why I've got bits of cards there. Now this is where we have to bring our mechanism back in. But first of all though, I am going to put this matte layer on. Put this on. When I was sort of prepping this, there are so many possibilities with this shutter's eye. Excuse me. Things like camera lenses and binoculars and telescopes, and or you know, just if you want something on your image to be the focal part, or you want something, it's just really lovely. And providing you use the heavy enough card, it is really quite a durable thing. Now I managed to smear glue all down there. Hopefully that will be covered by my sentiment. Right, so we now need our mechanism to come back in, and see, my glue dots have held. It's worth having decent glue dots. So we now need to fix this to here. Okay. And you need to remember, because the first time I put this together, I completely forgot. You need to shut your mechanism. Okay, so make sure the iris is shut before you try to position it with this, because I had it closed, positioned my arrow here, and then it was like, oh, because the arrow wants to go that way. So make sure you position it that way. So close it, and you need glue dots again. I don't know, I'm just looking at the time. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have time to do the other card. I will do a video of the other card. When you're not using this, you're going to need 3D foam. You're going to need your no, you're not going to, you need 3D foam on the back rather than on the back of this, which is what we're going to do. Sorry, I probably just confused you. Just kind of ignore what I just said. Look, because we're an hour in and I've got another, I've got the other one to do. So I'm pretty sure this will be it for today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 8 here. 7, 8. So yeah, we'll do a video. It'll probably be next week when we record it, to show how to use the mechanism, not with this cover piece. So you need I would put the glue between these bits. So 1 glue dot between each of the bits here. Again, like I've done before, applying them but leaving the backing on, and it's better to attach it to this, because if any of your glue dots on here come a little bit loose, you're not then attached to something that's going to become loose. So I've got those there. I might need another one. Just looking, obviously didn't cut properly. Oh no, that's where it is. Day for losing things. So I put 3 on this bit of the mechanism here. Okay. Yeah, so who was the lady that was asking about instructions? Pam. So Pam, I will, like I said, we'll do another video next week of a card. So there'll be a couple of videos on our YouTube site to show you, and hopefully I'll try and do you a sort of a written step-by-step on how to use the mechanism. Okay, so pulling these off. They're coming off nicely, which shows I pushed them down enough. That one possibly not. Right, so what you have to do now is this aperture is pretty much the aperture that is here. So it's a case of hovering, and again, it's where you might end up seeing the back of my head. Hovering over it, and you do need to be over it. It's like when you do decoupage, it won't line up otherwise. And then you want to kind of work out where you want the arrow to be sitting. The arrow, the lever, whatever you like to call it. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with that. I think if I can just get it to go down over that. And then I'm just going to push that down onto the glue dots. Okay, and then I'm just going to check that my mechanism is working. Excellent. Okay, so now we need to turn over. Now this, if you were here at the beginning, I said you need some, I don't know what depth this is. I'm going to just try and see if I can work it out on my ruler. I think it might be 3mm. I think it's 3mm depth foam pads. These were, I didn't have any of the, would be nice if I'd had like the tape or the bigger ones, but these were what I have, and they absolutely do the trick. So I'm putting 3 up there, and then another 6 down here. I mean, it's up to you how much support you want to put on it, but these really are to lift up, because what you don't want, remember, this is probably show you better now. This is, you can see these move. You do not want to restrict the movement of those at all. So you need the depth on your foam pads, foam tape, whatever it is you're going to use. So, where's my? I see these things. I'm looking straight at the thing I want. So this is something I doing live. It's like, oh, trying to get the backs of these off. And I know when I watch you know, the people on the telly doing it, they always don't bother with those, and I always think, well, I do appreciate they're giving there we go. It's because I'm starting to talk about other people. I do appreciate that they give support, but I would still rather they were all stuck. But you know, of course is whatever you prefer to do. This is why I have one pokey tool for gluey stuff and one for non-gluey stuff, if I remember to do them properly. There we go. Right, so all the foam pads are off, and then this then sticks on to my page there. Okay, so I'll give those foam pads a press, and again I'm going to check my mechanism. My mechanism is still working. That's good. So now we just need to decorate. So I already have cut my white part for my life ring. To get these in proportion, literally I've cut it in half and in half again. I'm going to use this glue this time if it's working. No, we'll go back to this one. And I'm going to glue this one there. And because they're cut out of the same die, they will fit absolutely exactly over the top. And then I'm going to, it doesn't matter if it's not exact, but it's roughly. Okay, and then I am going to cut 4 bits, sort of slightly triangular, but it doesn't matter if they're not. 2, 3, 4, and again they don't all look the same size either. So I'm just going to run a little bit of glue. My my thin one, unfortunately, is clogged up at the moment, so we're just going to have to go with the big one. And again, these are I'm not putting them over the top, I'm butting them up. Good job. This is acrylic dries, the Cosmic Shimmer dries clear glue, because I've got glue everywhere because I haven't got my fine nozzle. Yeah, so you literally just butt those up to there. But you know, the possibilities with this site are only limited by what you can imagine. So, and then that fits over there. And I've made a big mistake. It's not unrectifiable though, but I'm going to show you. This is why you don't do what I've just done. I have forgotten to put my little imagey bit underneath. So look, there's nothing there. Right. We're going to have to try and rectify that. So that goes on. I knew there'd be a bit I'd forget. So I've got that there. I've got that. I'm going to go with the blue one and a craft one for my message. That's up there. Right. So let's rectify my problem here. Now, what I did before is I took one of the white circles, where you keep everything, and I stuck my fish on there, stuck it down first, and then hovered this over. But I haven't done that, obviously. So I need to find a blue. It's a blue fish. And now if I had let's say, for example, if that was what I wanted to, it would be a little bit tricky to get in. I think I'm lucky in that I'm only putting a couple of bits and I can just stick it straight onto there. So I might have saved this one. But that is one to remember, is to, whatever your image is going to be, to get that stuck down before you put the bit on. Lesson learned, lesson learned. But I am going to try and unblock this because I do need a... Sorry, I do these things off camera. I think I've got that. Yeah. Okay, right. So, tweezers. Right, let's see if we can do this. Bit like playing that game Operation. We have to reach in and try not to touch other things. Right, there's one fish. And we need his eye. I think we might have saved it. Phew, relief. And tweezers. Goodness me. That was a close one. Like I say, thankfully on this one I hadn't got a pre-stamped image or message to go in there. Phew. Right, so we can just finish this off now. We're going to just put, I'm going to stick those three together before we do anything else. Put that one there. Put that there. And then I'm going to use a bit of 3D glue. In fact, I'm not. Hold your horses. I'm going to turn it over before I do anything else here. I'm going to close that. I'm going to turn it over because just to show you, I might not do the whole of this, but just to show you, in fact I won't do it. What I did on the back was to put this with 3 mats and then 3 of the camera things, but I won't do that now for now because that's not overly important for what we're doing. Put that to one side and let's get all my little bits and pieces. Come on out. Right, turn you back over. So let's get you on and then we'll just do our little bit of arrangement here. So put some glue gel on because that's going to sit just off of there. We want it to stick. Okay. So this literally is just going to be a quick assemblage because I'm quite aware of the time and that I've still got another quite big demo to go. So I'm just gonna, there is no kind of rhyme or reason to the way I'm doing these. I'm just sort of a little assemblage of bits to go with the beach theme. Remember, this is from Amy Designs Underwater Sea Life. There are a couple of videos on our YouTube channel of projects that I have previous. Oh no, blue next. Put that one down. Blue one here, didn't I? Yeah, of other projects that I've made with that Amy Design set. Whey! Bing! Everything's pinging everywhere. Let me bring my little pot in. That. And the starfish and the bubbles. This is this set comes with, like, you know, like a seaweedy sandy bit as well, but just for these kind of little beachy themes, these little shells. Sorry, shells. Brain was gone then. Are just brilliant, and I love the little bubbles. Love these little bubbles. Oh, and then the white. Oh, already got glue on that one, haven't I? And bubbles on. I would take more care. I am just wanting to make sure that I get time for the other demonstration. And the last thing I'm going to do then is to put on the reinforcer. So this is reinforcement pack 2, and these are what I was saying to you. These ones fold, so they're going to go. I'm going to glue them this side like that, and then they fold over and glue at the back as well. So I really like these ones. They give that an even more sort of support. So put those ones on at the top and bottom of my page.
What's the diameter of the eye mechanism? Do you know? Roughly?
Of this, yeah. Right. I will find out centimeters or inches. Let's do them both. The diameter, in centimeters, is about 3.8, I think. It's always hard with the circle to know if you've got right in the middle. I think that's 3.8 centimeters and 1.5 inches. Somebody will tell me, well, that doesn't work because 3.8 centimeters an inch. I don't know. I have no concept of the two. Let's put that on the back. Okay, and then I'm not going to worry about the cameras on the back because we haven't done the pic, but I will put my little fish on the front. I'm just loving these. It surprised me, to be honest with you, actually how much this seemingly odd, seemingly very simple die set is actually one that I really enjoy. I think I've put these around. Oh no, I haven't. The white ones there. Does it matter? It doesn't matter if I don't do them the same way around. There's the fish. Okay, and then I've got blue ones, haven't I? I've got 2 blue ones. There's a blue one. Do I have another blue one? Oh no, I don't. We're gonna have to have 2 craft ones because I don't have 2 blue ones, and I can't possibly have different colours. Just not possible. So we'll go with craft there as well. That's because I think I used a blue one in there. Right, so there we go. So this is using the Iris Shutter Die set from Elizabeth Crafts, which comes in, well, the thing is these die sets, there's so much to them. I put the other bit down, didn't I? Here we go. So all of these parts make up the mechanism. So all these parts make up the mechanism. So they're marked A, B, C, the bananas and the arrows. And then these two parts are the decorative parts, the one for this part and here. And I've also used the Planner Essentials Reinforcement Pack 2, along with the Amy Design set. So really, the possibilities with that die set are endless. Okay, right. Moving on. I'm going to put that to one side. The other die set I was given, bear with me while I bend down, that was this set. This is from the Art Journal. Whereas before, let me just bring in the pack, the empty pack. You see, this is the reinforcement, but the iris is the same. These come from the Planner Essentials die. So these ones go with the planners, the A5 planner and the Psychic planner. So that's your Planner Essentials. Are designed, not exclusively, they're designed to go with the planners, but not exclusively. You can use them if you've got other planners too. The Art Journal ones are different. They are designed to go with, there's some junk journaling ones, but also some traveller's notebooks. And as I said to you right at the beginning, I'd never heard really of a traveller's notebook before. But when I found out what it was, I realised actually I own traveller's notebooks. I just didn't realise that's what they are. So this is the Bubble Flowers die set. It comes with this die, which you think, okay, that's what cuts the pages. So they are right size, and this die, this Bubble Flowers one, will cut the pages to fit the square XL refillable cover from Elizabeth Crafts. This one here is the square, and I've got the measurements for these as well. This one is the square, and this is 4.5 inch square. The square XL is 5.5 inch square. That's when it's the cover when it's closed. But there is also one that is smaller. It's like a 4.9 by 3.5. So there are 3 sizes in the refillable Traveller's Notebook. That's what the TN stands for. TN, Traveller's Notebook. Now, Traveller's Notebooks, what are they? Well, what they are covers which have elastic in them, and then you hook, and these are called signatures. I have learnt so much over the past couple of weeks doing these. These are called signatures. So you literally hook your signatures in to your Traveller's Notebook, and they're removable. So when you fill them up, you can change them, you can add to them, take things away. So this here will cut that and score it. And to be fair, you could cut them, but I found it quite useful because literally I know they're all the same size. I could cut multiples at a time. And I made mine. I've got this one, was from lots of double-sided, they're quite heavyweight papers, sort of thing I can junk journal on, you know, sort of collage on. Same sort of thing here. These were single-sided papers, these ones. But I interspersed it. These are just from like a kid's crafting drawing pad. I just sort of interspersed those. And this signature, I have used a combination. There's some cartridge paper, there's some mixed media paper, there's some watercolour. And this is the sort of thing I would do more inky stuff. The thing I like about these is they're not fixed in here. So if I wanted to take them out and work on them, I could. And I can have a whole layout. I find it sometimes in my journal, working across a page when it's on 2 levels of a book, if you get what I mean, it's quite difficult. So these literally just come out like this. You can, and you can find on the internet loads of book binding ideas to how to join your signatures. Like you could staple them, but there are lots of sewing techniques, proper book binding techniques. I personally like the idea of them being loose, so that if, you know, like I say, oh, I might decide I want to work on that, I can just pull that out, yeah, have that separate, and then all of that will just hook back into my traveler's notebook. Okay, now I'm going to take these signatures out so that I can show you the notebook itself, because I didn't have one, and I thought, well, if I'm going to show you these, then it would be nice. These, do you know what? I've only shown you that die. That is not just what you get. Let me show you before I get carried away. All of these dies come with this set too. This is the bubble flowers. So you get, and this is just a very quick journal page that I did. Like I say, I don't normally journal with die cuts and things. It's on my inks and paints and all of that. But I quite enjoyed this, the simplicity of it. So this die cuts out the holes like the bubbles. You've got a signpost, which I've used there, a little bit of grass. This flower is this one here. There's more flowers here. There's a couple of butterflies, another flower. There's a padlock, which if you've got like, mine's quite textured, but if you've got a flat cover, you could put like a padlock effect on the front. So this is amazing. It's like I said with the iris shutter die. I did a video this morning that will be on YouTube with the pizza box die. It's just the other dies that come with these sets. It's just phenomenal. It's just lots of extras that really just make them value for money. So, yeah, so you get all of that as well. I'm going to put those to one side because, like I said, I didn't have a traveler's notebook. I didn't have anything that would fit them in, and I thought it would be a bit odd to just sort of leave them like that. So I'm going to show you how I made my traveler's journal. This, those eagle-eyed amongst you that have been crafting a long time will, when I say this isn't real, you'll probably realise what it is. This is faux leather. It's not even fabric. This is made from craft card and glycerin and inks, and I'm going to show you how to do that. That's why I wanted to make sure I had enough time. I'm not showing you the whole process, but I'm going to show you the stages you would go through to get to this, and then I will show you how to use your elastic, how to thread your elastic to create your bits for your signatures, and to create the sort of closure with this kind of bookmark. Okay, so I learned a few things while I was doing this, and I would, if I was making another one from scratch, I would do it slightly differently. I say slightly. What I would do, see what I did, I was like, oh right, okay, so it should fit in a 5.5-inch square book. So I thought, okay, right, what I'll do is I'll be clever. Not really, but I thought, well, I'll be clever, and I'll cut my craft card down. I'll keep it the length because I think, you know, that's fine, but I'll cut it down. And that was a big mistake, because what happens is, because you're adding so much water into the cup, excuse me, I've got the cups there. You're adding so much water into the card, it kind of changes its shape, it kind of moves, and I ended up with something a lot smaller than I should have done. This is 5.25. If I was to do this again, I would probably use a whole sheet of A4, and then cut it down to size afterwards rather than cutting it down before I did the technique. Now, I am not going to do a whole sheet of A4. I am just going to cut a small piece of this to demonstrate the faux leather technique. Now, this is not, this is nothing I have come up with. This is an old technique. I'm going to go for, let's go for a reasonable bit, don't I? Let's do that. Let's just do that bit there. It is a technique that has been around for quite a long time. When I went back and looked online to just double check that I remembered how to do it properly, I found all sorts of slight variations. But the technique is basically the same. So if you want the leather look, then craft card is the way to go. I am going to have a go at making one out of white card with some brighter colour inks. The technique is still the same, because what you are doing, this is craft card, but it's acting like fabric. If I try to do that with that, at some point it will just like that. Can you see? I'm not bothered that it's done that because I need it to do it for in a minute. But it doesn't have the flexibility. What gives it the flexibility is the glycerin that we're going to use. So again, I found varying kind of ideas of how much glycerin to water to use. Now, this is an old sprayer. Somehow you can see by the colour of it. Look, this is my good sprayer. This is years old, but I've somehow managed to break the top, but I didn't throw it away because it's got Tim Holtz on it and I can't throw it away. So I thought it would be a good idea to use this to mix my glycerin and water, and then I've got some already made up. I used my ruler and a Sharpie, and I've marked a 1/4 inch. It doesn't matter what you do, centimetre, half centimetre, whatever, as long as they're all equal. Because what you want to do is to mix a part to part. So I have gone with roughly a 6 parts water to 1 part glycerin. Some places I found were saying 10 parts water to 1 part glycerin. I just found I wanted a bit more of the glycerin in there for that flexibility. So providing all my measurements are equal, then all I have to do is put 6 water, 1 glycerin, and just normal glycerin. You can get it in the baking aisle, chemists. I have broken the metal lid on my glass jar, which is why I've got some in a little bottle. But this is just ordinary glycerin. There's nothing special. If you don't have a bottle, you can mark up. I did find this. I keep some weird stuff in my craft stash. This is one of those old medicine, like 10 mils, 20 mils, 30 mils. So if you're doing like 6 parts water to 1 part glycerin, if you filled that with water and then to the top with glycerin, yeah. I don't even know if I've got it here, which could be a slight problem. I had a little funnel I found. I used for an old iron that I used to fill, because I put it into these spray bottles because we're going to need to spray our card. Let's get on with it. Right, so that's what you want. So 6 parts water to 1 part glycerin in a spray bottle. All right, now I'm going to get messy. I mean, there is no two ways about it. It's going to get wet, it's going to get squidgy, but we're going to go for it. So the idea is we're just going to spray this with the water and glycerin, and then you're just going to start to rub it in. Now, you won't notice it while you're doing it, but afterwards you will really notice your hands. They don't feel greasy, but they do feel slightly softer. And I know that the hand cream I still use is an Avon one, which has glycerin in it. So glycerin is not something, unless you may have an allergy, but glycerin is something that is used quite commonly in hand creams to soften. And literally that's what it's doing to the fibres of the card. So I've done that side. I'm just going to turn over and we're going to do the same the other side. Just rub it in. And it's worth taking a bit of time over this stage because if you don't get your card right, then you're not going to get that flexibility. You don't want to be scrubbing away at the surface. You don't want to be lifting the top of the card. And, you know, if it is getting wet and it is going to start to, like pill, you know, the little bits that start to come off it, just be careful. Okay, so I'm just going to go back on the other side because I've still got a fair bit on my mat. I'm just going to go over it a little bit. Okay, and then those of you that've seen it before, you know how it works. If you've not seen it before, and then what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to scrunch it up, and then I'm going to open it out, and then we're going to have another little spray. I'd like to make sure I'm pointing the spray at the right end. Now you need to start being a little bit careful, and this is why I'm saying make it bigger than you want your end result, because this is where you can start to lose a little bit at the edge. You might start to tear it at the edge. You can see where I've scrunched it now that the water and the glycerin is getting further in to the card. Now I have done two different things with I did two bits that I have stuck together for my traveler's notebook, and I can feel like I'm beginning to start to wipe the surface off of that. So I'm going to scrunch it once more and open it up again. And okay, I'm not going to do any more because I can feel that it's starting to pill up on the surface. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit. And this is where I can already feel my hands. Like I say, it's not sticky, but it's like, you know, when you put on a load of hand cream and your hands are quite different feel to them. If you look on this one, I have used an embossing folder. It's an old one. It's just a favourite one. I love this. It's an old A4 one. If you're doing this and you don't have an A4, if you've got a 6x6, you should be able to do it in 2 pieces. On this side, I didn't bother, other than I did run it through the machine with the plates just to flatten it. Now, this might sound really weird, and it doesn't hurt your machine. You do it while it's wet. Just bear with me. This was just to go through these mats. You do it while it's wet. So I have a really old, and I think this one's still on the website, but it's something you might have. I'm just doing it for the sake of showing you. You literally run this through your machine, and yes, it's wet, and so yes, it's going to squidge. So you just have to be careful when you take it out. So I'm going to run this through. When I did the first one, I'd forgotten just how messy it could be. And I picked it up and it just stuff was running everywhere. And you will need to clean your you will need to clean your plates afterwards. As you can see, look, I've got water there. So let's clean that off. And water in my folder. Let's get rid of those for now. Now, because I've run this through the I have kind of got rid of all these kind of wrinkles. So that's why I kept one like this. So this one is it's just been through without an embossing folder. When you put it through an embossing folder, it will level out the rest and leave you with the emboss. Okay, so what I need to do so that I can just keep going with this is I'm going to just try and squeeze out a little bit more. It's done, putting it through does squeeze out a fair bit, but you do need it to be dry before we move on to the next section. So I'm going to just let the dryer go on this. Now the next part, am I loud enough over the thing? That's fine, yeah. Okay, so you need to decide on the colours that you want, and I quite like the traditional ones that you've seen on TV before. I like that dark, warm leather kind of look, which is why I went for the craft card as well. So I've gone with the quite common combination of spice marmalade, rusty hinge, fired brick, vintage photo, and black soot. So these are the colours that I have used to create that. I watched, Sheena Douglas was the one that really brought this to sort of on on the telly, and it's where we all picked this up from. I watched one of her videos while I was deciding how to do this again, and she's tried it with distress oxides. She said it doesn't work, they're too opaque. So do stick with your ordinary distress inks, not your distress oxides. Okay, now I'm not intending to completely finish this, so I'm going to go with it not being completely dry, but you'll get the idea in the middle. Ideally you want it to be completely dry, and what I did was I literally just left it naturally. If you put it on a radiator, be careful because it will curl. If you've got radiator, it will sit like that. So try to, if you can, just let it dry naturally flat. But we're gonna go with this anyway. Now you see me use my distress oxides a lot, and I always use brushes. I love my brushes with my distress oxides. I do not like brushes with distress inks. I don't know why. I have tried them both. I have a blog post from last year, I think, where I had a bit of an experiment with different papers, different applicators, and I just couldn't get on with anything other than cut and dry for my distress inks. And in fact, I have a massive box at home. I mean, this is how organised I am. Look, I have a number, and in my box I have so where am I? That's the wrong one. I picked the wrong one up. That's black soot. There we go. Look, number 10 black soot. So in my box, number 10 black soot. So I do have, I am that sad, whereas I don't with my brushes. I do have an individual piece of cut and dry for every single distress ink that I have, and I have them all. Right, so start off with your lightest. Now, there is no need to be particularly fussy or how you apply it. Literally just get it on. So there's no now these bits are coming off my cut and dry from where I did it before. So these bits, can you see on my thing, these are off of the card. They're not a major issue. Just be careful not to rub too hard, because this is still damp, so you are going to rub the surface off. Right, so let's move on to, I've done that the wrong way. Look at that. I say start with the lightest, and that's because put the wrong lids on them at home. So I've just done the wrong things there, but not to worry. So I've just put rusty hinge, and now I'm going to put some spice marmalade on, which is the lighter of the two. It's not going to be an issue. Let's put some of the rusty hinge on. You can see I am not making any particular effort to make it, put things in particular places. And look, I mean, at the moment you're thinking, my goodness, that looks nothing like it. Right, bit of fire brick. And this is where, with the embossing, it really picks up your embossed parts. If embossing, you've just left it with the crumples from where you crumpled it up, that's where you get this kind of really old worn leather. That literally is just the crumples from the paper. I'm not gonna. Right, and then now this is the one, and this is, you can see I've got the bits all over my pad, and it's not the pad per se, it's the from the paper. Now this is the one where you want to take a little bit more time. This is the one where you want to be getting a more sort of more of a coverage, not just in bits and pieces. You really want to try to get this now over. I feel like I'm molting all over here. I'm not bothered. It's not hurting either my pads or my things or me. So I'm going over all of this with my vintage photo. You see, I'm taking a lot more time with this one. This is the sort of predominant colour that I want. And this is why I also want, because this, my problem is with, with anything, I love my kind of real sort of neutrals, or this kind of like autumnal colours. That's me. Sometimes I have to be forced out of my comfort zone. Now, I would at home go more over that, but you might be wondering why the black soot. Well, the black soot really is what ends up just toning this down and making it much more. Can you see it's now looking much more like this. It does need more vintage photo, but you're getting the idea. Okay. I'm gonna stop there for the sake of time. Put my lids back on my ink and sort of give this a bit of a heat blast, and I'll explain the next stages. And I'm gonna I am going to clean it up because make sure I know I normally use rice paper, but I'm just going to clean it up very quickly today. Right, so let's give it a quick blast. No, I'm not. Oh, I've got one of those heat guns that when it gets to a certain temperature shuts down. Okay, let me explain what my next step is. I had two separate pieces of craft card, and I glued them together because I wanted two different looks, and I also wanted to have a little bit more rigidity on it. So you can do it with a good strong PVA, or if you've got any book binding type glue. I think Pinflair do one. I think one I used was Paper Pantry. Just something that's going to give a really good adherence between the two. And then to make sure it's stuck, I don't know what I've done with my brayer, but oh, here it is. To really make sure the two are stuck, I went over and over it with my brayer and then left it to dry. Okay, it's really important you leave it to dry. Once it's dry, you can then look along the edges, and I may still have a few bits to see if there are any bits that have lifted. And actually, I think I might caught all of mine. And if there are, I just literally went in with my Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, literally squirted stuff in, and then over it with the brayer again to really squash the two together. Okay, so that's how I put the two together. Because remember I said that I cut them down, because they go through with the water, they go through the embossing folder. They didn't end up the same size, so I had to trim them once I stuck them together. And then I went round with a bit more ink. So that's the next stage. So imagine I've got another piece stuck there. The next thing to do to make it more durable is you want it to be wipeable. You don't want, this is water based. If I was to drop water on it, you know what happens with distress inks, just oxide. You drop it on and it, lovely effects, but really not what you want to be happening on your traveler's notebook cover. So you need to make this a little bit more waterproof. Now there are plenty and plenty of things on the market that you can do it with. Mod Podge is one that probably a lot of people have. People may have decoupage mediums, glues like Mod Podge that do the same job. They stick and they seal. You can probably use things like gels, you know, if you've got any transparent gels, if they're thin enough. I have the one I've got is the Cadence Satin Decoupage Glue, and the way I found the best way to put it on, and again this is going off the videos, particularly Sheena's, you know, all hail to Sheena for this technique, because she was the one that really sort of brought it to us. Just an ordinary sponge. If you try to brush it on, this is wet, this is water based, and all you're going to do is smear it. So you'll see I'll end up with ink on here, so I'm just going to literally with a sponge. And a sponge also means you can get into all the bits. There you go, see the ink is coming off. If I was to be brushing that, I would not just be taking some of the ink off, I would actually be spreading it around. So again, I'm not going to do it all, but that is how I coated all of this, and that's why it's got that kind of slight sheen to it. It's satin, it's a satin finish, and I do quite like a satin finish. But whatever you've got, Mod Podge do an awful lot of finishes. I know they've got a glittery one, so if you're into your sort of glittery finishes, matte, gloss, yeah, whatever, just something that is going to make it a little bit more sturdy. Okay, so we're going to put that to one side. So that is literally how I made the base of the book. Done. Now we need to make it into the actual journal. So I am going to grab a couple of other things. This is another thing from trawling the internet. The internet is an amazing place, providing you know what you're looking for. But just by this one I came across while I was looking for faux leather, and I was looking for faux leather journals. And this lady didn't use this technique; she was using proper faux leather. But she had an amazing tutorial on how to create this kind of binding for a journal. So I will, when I blog this, I will put that link on if you want to go and have a look. So I kind of adapted her measurements, and I made myself a template on paper with all the measurements. I put it onto card, and then because I cut it down, it didn't work quite the way I thought, but it's still okay. I can still use this. So what I need to do is to put it sort of face down. This one's better. This is why I left this one for demoing to you, because this, if you look, I ended up cutting up quite a little bit off of this one, but it still worked. I would, what have I said this is? It's for 5.5. I would, in future, I would make this at least 6 inches, because I feel that these are a little close. All right, you need them. Aha, that's something we haven't done yet. I will show you that in a minute. You need them. I'm just going to grab a piece that I've cut. This is cut with this die, and I'll show you that right at the end. You need these holes to be just outside of the edge of the paper, otherwise it's not going to catch. So this one got a little bit close. So I need my white gel pen. Where's my white gel pen? This is the only thing that would show up on this. And I put this on the front and turned it over. And the main one to get is that one. That's the middle one. Okay. Now, if like me, this is not at the top, then all I did was I moved it slightly down, moved it slightly in, and then I did my 3 dots and turned it round, kept lining up with that middle one, and then I put my 3 dots. Now, so I've got my dots, so I can see where I'm going with this. my piece of paper. So then I took my piece of paper and I put it down. I thought, ooh, is that going to fit? It's on the tight side. So literally when I punch my holes, I'm just going to go slightly to the outside of those holes. So you can see why I say you might want to make this wider than I did. But it, you know, it was all trial and error for me. It was really enjoyed doing it, but it was a bit of trial and error to see what would work and what wouldn't. Now I am lucky enough to have a crocodile, but you could use I think they're called a bradawl or a pokey tool or something to make your holes. I know that I'm going to use my smaller hole. This is an eighth. I don't even know whether, I don't think it's an eighth. It must be an eighth of an inch, probably. Anyway, so I am literally just going to punch my holes. There. I know you probably can't see this because this is a head up, you're blah, 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 blah. You're looking at it overhead and all you can see is the top of my crocodile. But once I've done it, you'll be able to see. One. And then the one in the middle. Right, so I now have my holes punched. And I need, I have actually written down the way to do it because it was like I was watching her and thinking, oh, okay, where's she going now? So I wrote it down. You need some elastic. Now, I happen to have, I happen to sew as well as craft, paper craft, and I, over the pandemic, made my own face mask. So I have this really nice, I think it's 3mm, but I'm not sure, round elastic. So it's not like flat, but if you don't have this, you know, whatever elastic, you know, you can buy a cheap little offcut flat elastic. If you use something like beading elastic, which is quite thin, you might want to bulk it up a little bit. But I know that this is going to work perfectly. So I have, I think this is about 90 centimetres, which is too much, but I wanted to make sure I had enough. About 90 centimetres to do the book, and I think I've got 60 to do the closure and the tag. So no, I've got to go that way. Sorry, I need to just check. So you need the inside of your book facing you, and you go out through the middle one. And then you come back through the left. And again, when I blog, I'll put the link on to the lady's video, and I'll also write this down. So you need to pull that through. That you need to keep. All right, you want that. Just have to kind of leave it for the moment. So I've gone out through the middle into, and now I'm going back out through the bottom left. So I've gone out through the middle, top middle, in through the left middle, and I'm going out on the bottom here. So I'm going straight down. So keep this one out. Okay. Then I'm coming back up. I think I'm coming back up through the middle, and then I'm going out here. Now, I know that I can get that through. There are ways of, if you can't get it through, there is a little trick, and it's the way I used to put the toggles on my mask. If you thread a needle with just ordinary cotton and you put it through and put it back, so you've got to loop this side, put the elastic through the loop and then pull the needle, and then that will pull your elastic through the hole. And then I'm going in through here. And out through there. Okay, so I've now got my 3 things, and then back up through the middle here. Again, I know I'm lucky enough this is going to go through. Okay, so now you just need to join these two. Now, I'm not going to fuss and faff with it now, but what I would suggest you do is before you fix this, you make up your signatures, which I'll show you in a moment, Put them in and just check that you've not got it too tight or too loose. You want it tight enough that it's going to hold, but you don't want it so tight that you're not going to be able to get things underneath. So literally then all I'm going to do is a knot here and yeah, the knot doesn't look great, but actually you don't see the knot once you've got your signatures in. So that's the inside. Okay, so this other piece is for the closure. Okay, so what you need to do here is to poke it through from the middle to the outside and then back through to the inside to create the loop. Okay, so you need that loop. Now I'm going to just move it because I want the measurements. Now I think I left about just over 3 inches for my loop. Not like stretched or anything, but you know, just kind of about there. So then I'm going back in. I need to find both ends, but that one's got caught under there. Okay, and I'm going to tie. I'm not bothered if it comes in a little bit because I'm pulling on this anyway. I'm going to just tie a knot with both pieces. Okay, pull that through. Okay, now I'm not going to yet tighten it. I'm going to go back out and check. I've still got about 3 inches before I then sort of ease that down and pull. Okay, so I've now got my closure here that will go over like that. This piece I can cut off. That's a bit long. I left enough. Yes, I have. Okay, this part here, you don't have to have it. You can cut it off. But what I've done is I've just put a little, woo, I'll pull my thing out, a little charm on the end, H for Hixxycrafts, and I've got a C for me. This one's my Hixxycraft one, and this one will be my one. And literally I've just put that on the end. Again, these I had left over. I've not bought these specially. I've just used what I had in my stash. If you don't want the bookmark, you just cut this bit off. Okay. I'm going to pull that nice and tight and then trim that bit off. Right, so that's your cover done. Excellent. Right, let's look at the pages, the signatures. How am I doing for time? Ooh, not bad, not bad. Right, so this die, like I said, it is the purpose of it in this set is to create the pages for the signatures for your traveler's notebook. For this, in this particular die, it's for the XL traveler's notebook. There are, as I said, there's 2 others. There's a smaller square and then there's a sort of a more of a sort of portraity one. However, there will be another video next week probably, where I looked at this and thought, you know what, that would just cut me a card blank. So you can also make a card with it. But okay, so literally what I did was I went through my stash, and you know, I'm sure you know that we all buy things. We all buy paper pads, and we all look at some of the sheets and then go, ooh, I don't think I'm ever going to use that. You know, some lovely stuff, but this one is not particularly a favourite. This one's nice, but a bit big floral. But they're the sort of thing that, you know, it wouldn't bother me to collage on, or to just sort of spray and ink and stamp on, which normally when I look at my papers in my books, I think, oh no, it's just for backings and things. So this is an opportunity to get into all those stashes. And I'm gonna, for those of you that have been crafting for quite a while, in my boxes I found Do Crafts. Like, they were the first papers I bought, and I still have loads of them. Brenda Pinnock from QVC. I had loads of stuff, and it's like, okay. But even then I was going through and go, oh no, I can't cut that one up. Oh no, I can't cut that one up. So even though I've had these papers years and never used them, I was still going, oh no, I might just need that for something special. So anyway, I prevaricate. It will depend on the thickness of your card / paper as to how many you can get through. Now, these are quite heavyweight, double-sided papers. This one's heavier than this one. And this one is even kind of virgin on a cardstock. You won't get any more than 2 of those. The thinner papers, the thinner kind of scrapbooking papers, one-sided ones, you can probably get 3 through. Stuff like mixed media paper, stamping card, watercolor card, you're only going to get 1 through at a time. But I've got a whole box full here. I've done a load of cutting. So for future, I can at any time sort of mix up what I have in my traveler's journal. So we're going to put this. Oh, I am getting in a mess, but nowhere near as much of a mess as I thought I was going to. So I'm actually quite pleased. Even my hands are not as bad as I thought they would be. Right, so let's hopefully this will just cut these 2, and then I can show you. Oh, is that going to go through? I haven't got it lined up. I can hear the crunch, so I know that has actually cut through those 2, so that's good. If I'd have tried this, and believe me, I did at home, it would not cut through. It's just too much. Okay, so the other thing I found is that you have a score line, which is why I originally looked at it and thought, oh, card blank, because it has. Let me show you the die. Move it out the way. The outside is a cutting edge, but you've got this ridge here, and that's not a cutting edge. It's not as raised as this. It's a scoring. It's for allowing you to fold your papers. Now, it depends, A, how many you put through, and B, how much pressure your machine's giving you as to how easy they are to see. But generally, when you start to fold them, it will become evident where that fold is, even if it's not particularly visible. And then just really make sure that you burnish them all. See, this one was the top one, so I'm thinking you'll probably see that better. See the score line across there. So like I said, as soon as you start to fold it, it kind of I'm quite pleased with how square that is. Right, so that's my Hixxysoft one. Put those over there for now. Let's grab. Like I was saying, I won't do all of these, but like I said, I just kind of went a bit mad and kind of went through all my stash of the sorts of things. So what I'll do now is I'll keep these in a box, and then I can keep changing my signatures. So I'm going to grab that one back because I think I had actually sorted out sort of a nice pastel-y kind of one there. Let's put those to the side. So I'm just going to fold these. These ones are single-sided paper. So even if you've just got single-sided papers, you can still use them. Because I was thinking, oh, but actually they'd be really good for, you know, stamping on, journaling on. This. No, I shouldn't really say where I got things from, but this is Lidl's. Well, they're just cheap coloured paper. So it's nothing special, but it's perfect for journaling in. And the other thing I quite liked when I thought about, you know, the whole using using single-sided papers and plain papers. Some of these I cut in such vast numbers that the score line kind of didn't quite meet, but hey ho. Is that you get, for example, here you get a nice plain with a pattern, or you might get a white with a pattern or a white with a plain, and it kind of really mixes it all up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one signature, and we'll put this one in, and I'll grab a couple from my other one. So these signatures are really, I don't know why they're signatures, possibly because they can be personalised, and obviously signatures are personalised. But you know, you can make them what you want them to be. I feel like I've missed a page there. This one made me laugh, right? You might be able to see it on the overhead camera. Men Wanted. This is an old Ducross one. I don't know what they're wanted for. Every locality throughout the United States. I'm not going to keep reading that. But yeah, so just pick out all your old scrapbooking things. So there we go. There's a signature. It depends how fussy you are as to whether you feel like you'd want to trim those off. I quite like the fact that they're fanning out like that and I can see the colours. So I'm going to put that one in. I'm going to put this one in. This is the one where I've got my mixed media papers, and this is the one where I've already done. So I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to have that at the front, and I'll do my little page on there. So literally now you hook that under the elastic. It's that simple. Literally hook them under the elastic. And there's my bookmarks, I'm keeping that out of the way. Hook it under the elastic, put the bookmark down. I've left that quite long compared to the other one. And then that goes around, and that's your traveller's notebook. Okay. Now, I know we're pretty much at time, but I am just going to show you the dies here very quickly. I've got this takes me no time to do, so bear with me just for another 5-10 minutes and we will finish this off properly. Yeah, sure. If you can find the bit. Here we go. I've got all my bits of card cut here. Okay, so I'm going to go on this. The colours work just as well on this as they did on that green. That bit goes there. That's the bit I'm going to cut my signpost from. Literally going to run these through really quickly. The green, I'm going to cut the flower. The craft, signpost is in there. So many dies in this. Is that it? Oh yeah, and then I'm going to just show you this bubble one that cuts. I mean, there's still so much I want to do just with this dice set. Next week, hopefully I've got another amazing set that I've got to play with. So let's literally run this through quickly and show how quick it is to put a very simple little page. I love the signpost on this. Oh, I know what I haven't got on there. I want the grass, don't I? To hide the bottom of my signpost. I'll stick that there. Okay. Oh, this is where I'm starting to go. I'm ending up like working in like a 6-inch square. You know what it's like. You know what it's like. Where's the signpost? The signpost on there. Right, quickly run that through. So the other two cards, I was being a bit optimistic as to whether I'd get to the cards, but we never know. So the two cards that I showed you at the start, the one using all these decorative dies from here and using this woohoo, bring everything in. I'm doing 7 things at once. Using this as a card blank, we'll record next week and put up on YouTube. And then the one using the iris shutter. The iris. I never know whether I said it right. After I said it, have I said iris or Irish? The iris shutter in a slightly different way. We'll put that one up on YouTube, but we'll record that sort of next Friday when I am here again. Right. So yes, I'm not tidying up after myself at the moment because I just want to get this done. So you can see there's those lovely bubble dye. I think I might have done it a different way around this time. Yes, I did. Completely different way out. It doesn't matter. So there's that dye there. I'm going to stick that there. Get my glue on. You can see this really isn't until the glue doesn't work. Really isn't taking very long. And this is just a couple of the dyes. That one's not going either, is it? Oh, yes. Phew. Phew. One of my glues is playing ball. So I could take this out just literally for ease of time. I am not taking it out. Put this bit of craft card. You know, I barely scratched the surface of this die set, I feel. It was just so, in terms of Traveler's Notebook, yeah, okay. But in terms of all these extra dies, you know, that come with it, you know, it isn't just a die to cut your pages. You could cut a card blank from it, but also you get all these other really fabulous additional dies too. So that is out. Down my note thing. So I want to put this, but don't put any glue on the end, so I can tuck the big flower behind, and we're going to go there, and then we'll get some glue on the flower. And I just want to tuck it under there so it looks like it's kind of growing around there. I kind of see this like, because this is my first sort of foray into this type of journaling. I sort of see the signpost as like signposting the way to all the things that I could possibly be doing with this. If you are really into your into this style of journaling, please do comment. Let me know if I've, you know, if there's anything else that I could be showing, or if I've done anything not done wrong, but I've got any of my terminology wrong. Oh, that didn't stick. That stuck to my hand and then came off on my hand. Let's try that again. Right, so there you go. That is our Traveler's Notebook using the, oh, I'm going to say the wrong thing, Bubble Flowers. So it's from the Art Journal collection. These art journal, all the art journal collections are kind of geared towards the Traveler's Notebooks, junk journaling, that kind of thing. So this die, these will fit in into the Elizabeth Craft XL, Square XL, the extra large square Traveler's Notebook. This is the smaller square, and there is another one, but hopefully you've seen that, you know, maybe the colours don't suit you, maybe, you know, they're not in stock and you really want one. For now, you can make one for yourself. Yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed that. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself today. Really, this has really sparked my kind of imagination and my creativity. I'm really hoping I get to work with some more Elizabeth Craft dies soon. Thank you ever so much for joining. Please make sure you hit like on our page to make sure you hear when we're going live again, and to hear when all the videos go on, and to also subscribe to our YouTube channel where all the videos are uploaded. But I don't just come and do the live on a Friday. We tend to do 3 or 4 videos in the morning as well, which go live through the following week. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. Thank you.